Ladies and gentlemen, what is the purpose of improving life? Why do we seek progress, growth, and transformation? Is it simply to survive a little longer, to make things a little easier, or is there something deeper, something greater driving us forward? Every living thing is designed for growth. A seed does not remain a seed. It pushes through the soil, reaches for the sun, and becomes a mighty tree. A child does not stay in the cradle. They rise, learn, and step into their purpose. Stagnation is unnatural. Decline is unnatural. Life was meant to advance. The question is, what is the reason behind this drive? Improving life is not about comfort, it is about purpose. It is about aligning with the original design that was placed within us. Every invent produces shade, fruit, and oxygen for the world around it. The same is true for us. Ignorance is the enemy of progress. The greatest prison is not made of iron bars, it is made of limited thinking. When we refuse to learn, to adapt, to challenge ourselves, we remain in bondage to mediocrity. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Information alone changes nothing, but when information is transformed into wisdom and action, the world shifts. The most dangerous mindset in the world is good enough. Good enough is the enemy of greatness. It is the excuse that kills dreams, the trap that keeps generations in cycles of poverty, failure, and disappointment. Those who improve their lives understand that good enough is never enough. There is always more to learn, more to build, more to become. The world does not need more people who settle. It needs men and women who dare to rise, who refuse to accept limits, who see problems and create solutions. When you improve your life, you don't just change your own story, you create ripples that impact families, communities, and nations. Look around. Everything you see, every building, every system, every innovation was created by someone no smarter than you, but they decided to grow, to improve, to refuse stagnation. So what about you? Will you remain in the cycle of routine, or will you step into the calling of transformation? Improving life is not an option, it is a mandate. It is not just about achieving more, it is about becoming more. The world is waiting for the next level of you. The question is, are you ready to rise? Life is designed for growth. Just as a seed grows into a tree and a child matures into an adult, life is meant to advance, not remain stagnant. Stagnation is unnatural. Progress is a fundamental law of existence. Improvement is about purpose, not comfort. The goal of improving life is not just to make things easier, but to fulfill a higher calling. True progress aligns with our greater purpose and allows us to contribute meaningfully to the world. Ignorance is the enemy of progress. The greatest prison is not physical but mental. Knowledge alone is not power. Applied knowledge transforms lives. Those who refuse to learn and grow remain trapped in mediocrity. The danger of good enough, settling for good enough, is the greatest threat to greatness. It kills dreams, keeps people stuck in cycles of failure, and limits potential. True improvement requires a mindset of continuous growth. Personal growth impacts others. Improving life is not just for individual success, but for the benefit of families, communities, and nations. When one person rises, they create opportunities and inspiration for others to do the same. Improvement is a mandate, not an option. Life demands progress. The world needs people who refuse to settle, who innovate, and who push past limitations. Every great achievement came from someone who chose growth over comfort. Life, by its very nature, is designed for growth. From the moment we enter this world, we are surrounded by evidence that everything around us is moving forward, expanding, and evolving. The trees stretch toward the sky, rivers carve new paths through the land, and even the cells in our bodies are constantly regenerating. Stagnation is unnatural. Nothing in creation is meant to remain the same. The moment something stops growing, it begins to decay. A seed carries within it the blueprint of a mighty tree. But unless it is planted, nurtured, and given the right conditions, it will never reach its full potential. The same principle applies to human beings. Every person is born with incredible potential, but if they do not actively pursue growth, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, they will remain trapped in a state of limitation. The tragedy of life is not death. It is failing to live up to the greatness that was placed inside of us. Nature teaches us that growth is not optional. It is a fundamental law of existence. When a baby is born, it does not remain in the same state forever. It grows, learns to walk, speak, and interact with the world. No one needs to force a child to develop. The process is built into their very being. However, as people grow older, many begin to resist this natural process of improvement. They settle into routines, accept limitations, and stop challenging themselves to reach for more. This is where the danger lies. Growth is not just about time passing, it is about intentional development. A person can be alive for many years, but remain in the same state of mind, stuck in the same habits, and bound by the same fears. Time does not guarantee progress, only effort does. The difference between those who fulfill their potential and those who do not is the willingness to embrace change, to learn and to push beyond the boundaries of comfort. Consider the world's greatest leaders, innovators, and thinkers. None of them remained in the same place where they started. They understood that life demands movement, and they committed themselves to constant improvement. They read, studied, took risks, and refused to settle. They knew that just as a tree must push its roots deeper into the earth to stand tall, they had to expand their knowledge, refine their skills, and strengthen their character to reach new heights. When something stops growing, it begins to die. This is true for businesses, relationships, and individuals. A company that refuses to innovate will eventually become obsolete. A person who stops learning will be left behind in a world that is constantly advancing. A relationship that is not nurtured will weaken and eventually fall apart. Growth is the key to longevity and success in every area of life. Some people believe that improvement is only necessary when things are going wrong, but that is a dangerous misconception. The best time to grow is not in crisis, but in preparation. A tree does not wait for a storm to strengthen its roots. It does so long before the storm arrives. In the same way, those who commit to lifelong growth will be prepared for whatever challenges come their way. The evidence is all around us. Life is designed for growth. Every day presents an opportunity to learn, to improve, and to become more than we were yesterday. The only question is, will we embrace that opportunity, or will we resist the very nature of life itself? Those who choose growth will thrive. Those who resist it will slowly wither away. The choice is ours. Improvement is often misunderstood. Many believe that the pursuit of a better life is about making things easier, more comfortable, or more enjoyable. But true improvement is not about comfort, it is about purpose. It is about fulfilling the reason for which we exist, unlocking our full potential, and making the greatest impact with our lives. Comfort is a temporary state. Purpose is eternal. Comfort is about avoiding pain, struggle, or inconvenience. But purpose is about enduring the necessary challenges that lead to true fulfillment. A person who lives only for comfort will never push beyond their limit. They will settle for what is convenient rather than striving for what is necessary. The pursuit of comfort leads to mediocrity, while the pursuit of purpose leads to greatness. History is filled with people who could have chosen comfort but instead embraced their purpose. Think of those who fought for justice, who created groundbreaking innovations, who led revolutions, and who changed the world. They did not live easy lives. They faced opposition, sacrifice, and hardship, but they understood that the purpose of improvement was not just to make their own lives better, but to serve a greater cause. Their vision was bigger than themselves, and because of that, their impact lasted beyond their own lifetime. A life focused on comfort is often a life wasted. It is easy to settle into routines that require little effort, doing just enough to get by, avoiding challenges, and staying within a familiar zone. But stagnation is the enemy of growth. The moment we stop striving for improvement, we begin to decline. Comfort deceives people into thinking they are secure. But in reality, it often prevents them from discovering their true potential. Purpose, on the other hand, demands growth. A person who is driven by purpose understands that every challenge, every obstacle, and every struggle is an opportunity to rise higher. They do not run from difficulties. They embrace them as part of the process of becoming who they were meant to be. Purpose requires discipline, sacrifice, and resilience. It requires a willingness to leave behind what is easy in order to pursue what is meaningful. Consider the difference between a river and a stagnant pond. A river is always flowing, moving toward a destination. It carves new paths, nourishes the land, and brings life wherever it goes. A stagnant pond, on the other hand, remains still, collects debris, and eventually becomes polluted. A life without purpose is like that stagnant water, motionless, unproductive, and lifeless. But a life driven by purpose is like the river, powerful, impactful, and always moving forward. Improving life is not just about personal success. It is about making a difference. The greatest fulfillment comes not from what we receive, but from what we give. When a person improves their mind, they gain wisdom to teach others. When they improve their skills, they gain the ability to serve others. When they improve their character, they become an inspiration to those around them. True improvement is never selfish. It is a gift to the world. If we measure success by comfort, we will always fall short of our true potential. But if we measure success by purpose, we will live lives of meaning and significance. The greatest question is not, how can I make my life easier? But rather, how can I fulfill the reason I was created? The answer to that question will determine whether we simply exist or truly live. Ignorance is one of the greatest enemies. It is not the lack of opportunities, resources, or talent that holds people back. It is the absence of knowledge, and more importantly, the refusal to seek it. Many people remain trapped in mediocrity, not because they are incapable of growth, but because they are unwilling to learn. The greatest prison is not made of iron bars. It is made of limited thinking. Throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen based on their pursuit or rejection of knowledge. The societies that embraced learning, innovation, and discovery became powerful and influential. Those that resisted growth, clung to outdated traditions, and refused to adapt eventually crumbled. This is not just true for nations. It applies to individuals, businesses, and entire generations. The moment a person stops learning, they begin to decline. However, knowledge alone is not enough. Information itself does not transform lives. Applied knowledge does. There are many people who have access to books, education, and training, yet they remain stuck in the same place year after year. Why? Because they do not act on what they learn. Wisdom is the ability to take knowledge and turn it into action. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not what they know, but what they do. Ignorance creates fear. People fear what they do not understand. Many never pursue their dreams because they are afraid of failure, but failure is not the real enemy. Ignorance is. When a person understands that failure is part of the learning process, they no longer fear it. They embrace it as a stepping stone towards success. But when a person lacks knowledge, they allow fear to control them. They remain in their comfort zone, never taking risks, never exploring new possibilities, and never reaching their full potential. Ignorance also creates dependency. When people do not seek knowledge, they become reliant on others to make decisions for them. They are easily manipulated, easily deceived, and easily controlled. A mind that does not think for itself is a mind that can be led in any direction. This is why education, true education, is the most powerful weapon against oppression. When people are informed, they cannot be misled. When they understand their potential, they cannot be held back. There's a saying that if you want to hide something from someone, put it in a book. Unfortunately, this is often true. Many people have access to knowledge, but do not take the time to seek it. They rely on entertainment rather than education, emotions rather than logic, and assumptions rather than facts. But the most successful people in the world are those who never stop learning. They read, they research, they ask questions, and they surround themselves with those who challenge them to grow. A person's future is determined by what they choose to learn today. Knowledge is the currency of progress. Those who invest in their minds will always rise above those who neglect them. But knowledge without action is wasted potential. There must be a hunger, not just to know more, but to do more. No one is born wise, but everyone has the opportunity to become wise. The only difference is the choice to seek knowledge and apply it. The greatest enemy is not the world around us, but the ignorance within us. The question is, will we remain in the prison of limited thinking, or will we break free and step into the power of understanding? The answer will determine whether we remain the same or step into the greatness we were created for. The most dangerous mindset a person can have is believing that good enough is enough. It is the silent killer of dreams, the invisible barrier that keeps people from reaching their full potential. The moment a person settles for good enough, they unknowingly put a limit on their growth. They stop pushing forward, stop striving for excellence, and ultimately stop improving. Mediocrity is comfortable, and that is why so many people choose it. It does not require much effort, risk, or sacrifice. It allows people to stay where they are, doing just enough to survive. But the danger of mediocrity is that it is never neutral. The moment we stop progressing, we start regressing. No one remains the same. We are either moving forward or falling behind. The world does not reward mediocrity. It rewards excellence. The highest positions, the greatest opportunities, and the most impactful contributions are given to those who refuse to settle. Look at the most successful people in any field, business, sports, science, or leadership. None of them achieved greatness by doing just enough. They pushed beyond the limits of good enough and pursued mastery. They sacrificed short-term comfort for long-term impact. They understood that settling is the enemy of success. One of the greatest tragedies in life is wasted potential. There are millions of people with incredible talents, brilliant ideas, and unique gifts, but they never develop them because they believe that where they are is good enough. They do not challenge themselves to grow, and as a result, they never discover what they could have become. The greatest regret in life is not failure, it is looking back and realizing you could have done more, been more, and achieved more, but you chose not to. Excellence is not a talent, it is a mindset. It is a decision to constantly grow, improve, and strive for more. It is the understanding that no matter how much you achieve, there is always another level to reach. Those who adopt this mindset are the ones who change the world. They are the innovators, the leaders, and the visionaries who refuse to accept limitations. They ask questions, seek knowledge, and challenge themselves daily. Good enough is a lie that keeps people trapped in mediocrity. It convinces them that they are doing well when in reality they're only scratching the surface of their true potential. It is the excuse that keeps businesses from growing, relationships from deepening, and individuals from excelling. The moment a person says, this is good enough, they stop reaching for greatness. The truth is, greatness is not reserved for a select few. It is available to anyone willing to reject mediocrity and embrace the challenge of growth. But it requires effort, persistence, and a refusal to settle. It demands pushing past failures, learning from mistakes, and continuously refining one's skills. Those who choose this path will not only achieve success, but will also inspire others to do the same. The world does not need more people who settle. It needs individuals who are committed to excellence, who are willing to go beyond what is expected, and who understand that improvement is a lifelong journey. The real question is, will you be one of them? Will you choose to rise above good enough and step into your full potential? The answer to that question will determine the quality of your life, your impact, and your legacy. Personal growth is never just about the individual. It creates ripples that extend far beyond one person's life. When someone commits to improving themselves, they do not only change their own destiny, they influence their family, their community, and even the world. The idea that self-improvement is a personal journey with no effect on others is a dangerous misconception. In reality, every step of progress a person makes has the power to inspire, uplift, and transform those around them. Think about the people who have impacted the world the most. They were not just focused on their own success. They understood that their growth had a larger purpose. A leader who develops wisdom and vision doesn't just benefit personally, they lead others to success. A teacher who sharpens their skills doesn't just become better at their job, they empower students to dream bigger. A parent who strengthens their mindset and character doesn't just improve their own life, they set an example for their children and shape future generations. No one exists in isolation. Every action we take, every decision we make sends a message to those around us. If we choose stagnation, we encourage others to do the same. But if we choose growth, we give others permission to rise. People are watching whether we realize it or not. Our habits, our attitude, and our level of commitment influence the people in our circle. The way we handle challenges, pursue excellence, and refuse to settle creates an unspoken standard for those who look up to us. Improvement is contagious. When one person in a family decides to break free from a cycle of mediocrity, they become a catalyst for change. They introduce new possibilities, new ways of thinking, and new levels of achievement that others may not have considered before. It only takes one person to show that more is possible. One person can lift an entire generation out of poverty, shift the direction of a struggling community, or inspire an entire movement of change. On the other hand, refusing to grow can also have a lasting impact. A person who remains in fear, laziness, or ignorance teaches those around them that settling is acceptable. They reinforce the idea that life is meant to be endured rather than maximized. Many people never pursue greatness simply because they have never seen an example of what it looks like. But when one person dares to improve, they create a new blueprint for success. The greatest leaders, inventors, and pioneers understood this principle. They knew that their growth was not just about personal achievement, but about opening doors for others. They understood that their success was not only for them, it was a responsibility. The knowledge they gained, the lessons they learned, and the breakthroughs they achieved became stepping stones for those who followed. True impact is not measured by personal success alone, but by how many others rise because of it. Improving life is an act of service. When a person sharpens their skills, they gain the ability to help others more effectively. When they expand their knowledge, they can teach and guide others. When they strengthen their character, they become a source of inspiration and stability for those who need it. The best gift anyone can give to their family, their community, and the world is their own growth. The question then is not whether we should improve, but whether we are willing to take responsibility for the influence we have. Will we settle and allow those around us to do the same? Or will we rise and show others what is possible? Will we live in a way that lifts others higher? Or will we pass on a legacy of mediocrity? The answer to that question determines not only our future, but the future of everyone connected to us. Improvement is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Life does not give us the option to remain the same. Everything around us is changing. Technology advances, industries evolve, knowledge expands, and the world moves forward whether we are ready or not. The question is not whether we should improve, but whether we will choose to grow or be left behind. Those who resist change eventually become irrelevant. Those who embrace growth become leaders in their field, influencers in their communities, and pioneers of new possibilities. Every person is born with untapped potential, but potential alone is worthless unless it is developed. A seed has the potential to become a great tree, but if it is not planted, watered, and nurtured, it will never grow. A mind has the potential to produce ideas that can change the world, but if it is not challenged, educated, and refined, those ideas will never come to life. Life demands progress, and the only way to fulfill our true potential is to commit to continuous improvement. Many people make the mistake of thinking that growth is only necessary when there is a problem. They believe that improvement is something to consider when life is difficult, when businesses are failing, or when opportunities are scarce. But waiting until a crisis forces growth is dangerous. The strongest trees do not develop deep roots during storms. They develop them long before the storm arrives. In the same way, those who commit to personal and professional growth before challenges arise will be prepared when difficult times come. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is their approach to growth. Those who succeed understand that improvement is a daily discipline, not an occasional effort. They read, learn new skills, build relationships, and expand their minds because they know that stagnation is a slow form of failure. They do not wait for someone else to push them forward. They take responsibility for their own development. People who refuse to grow often blame their circumstances for their lack of progress. They believe that if they had more money, more education, or better opportunities, they would be successful. But history proves otherwise. Many of the world's greatest leaders, innovators, and influencers came from difficult backgrounds. They did not wait for opportunities, they created them. They understood that life rewards those who take action, not those who make excuses. Improvement is not just about personal success. It is about fulfilling a responsibility to the world. Every person has a unique set of talents, skills, and insights that no one else possesses in exactly the same way. When we grow, we are not only changing our own lives, but we are also positioning ourselves to serve others more effectively. A doctor who improves their skills saves more lives. A teacher who sharpens their knowledge inspires more students. A leader who expands their wisdom transforms more communities. Growth is not selfish, it is an act of service. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, it is living without ever reaching one's full potential. There are people who die without ever writing the book they were meant to write, starting the business they were meant to start, or making the impact they were meant to make. Not because they couldn't, but because they refused to grow. The world does not need more people who settle for an average life. It needs people who are willing to rise, to challenge themselves, and to push past their limits. Improvement is not an option, it is a mandate. Those who embrace it will shape the future. Those who resist it will be left behind. The choice is ours. Will we grow and step into greatness, or will we settle and fade into mediocrity? The answer will define. Life was never meant to be lived in stagnation. Everything in nature teaches us that growth is the natural order of existence. From the smallest seed to the mightiest tree, from the newborn child to the wisest elder, life is a continuous journey of learning, evolving, and improving. The greatest tragedy is not failure or hardship, it is the decision to remain the same despite the endless potential for growth within us. Improvement is not just about personal success, it is about fulfilling our purpose. It is about breaking free from the chains of mediocrity, rejecting the mindset of good enough, and stepping into the greatness for which we were created. It is about recognizing that every effort we make to grow does not only impact us, but also influences those around us, our families, communities, and even generations to come. The world does not reward those who settle. It rewards those who strive for excellence. It lifts those who refuse to be limited by fear, laziness, or ignorance. It honors those who commit to lifelong learning, who push past their comfort zones, and who understand that their growth is a gift to the world. We must remember that potential means nothing without action. Dreams remain dreams unless they are pursued with discipline, perseverance, and a commitment to continuous development. Those who embrace this truth will not only transform their own lives, but it will also inspire others to do the same. So the question remains, will you choose to rise, to grow, and to improve? Or will you allow life to pass by while you remain the same? The answer to that question will determine not just your future, but your impact, your influence, and your legacy. The time for change is now. The call to improve is not for tomorrow, it is for today.